Hey, welcome back to Four for the Road, everybody. I'm your host, Punk Rock. It's just me and Andar here today, for now at least. Maybe. I don't know, sort of. But, yeah, we have no idea what the fuck we're doing here. We just want to keep some sort of consistency going. What's new with you, Andar?
Say we're doing this rainy day podcast. That way, when we run out of shit to do, we can drop this one on them.
There you go.
Or if it
So,
turns out really good, then we can just drop this fucking whenever.
yeah, and then hopefully later tonight, the other two and myself, we're going to get together and we're going to do a pretty dope Property of podcast.
Well,
Uh,
you
huh?
guys don't have a choice. We have to do it now tonight because I already put it out on Instagram. And if you put it out on fucking Instagram, you're that's law. You got to do it.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I don't know
But
how anything's gonna top that gangbang episode.
I was gonna bring that up, man. It seems like everybody on every social media platform that we have just fuck everything else we were talking about. It was just like, so tell me more about this gangbang.
Dude,
And
I felt like there was such good history in there, and the only questions I fielded was like about the gangbang.
yeah. Oh man. And then I do have to say, Mom, I'm sorry that you had to listen to that.
You know what? Only like a few people even question like, why is a service member going to jail anyway? People were just like, yeah, no, that makes sense. I was in the military. That's what you do. You go to jail. You have a gangbang.
Yeah, I feel I was looking at the profiles of the dudes that were commenting like, what? Oh, military. That's supposed to be like the best of the best. It's like obviously you've never spent a minute in the military because I can tell you that that is not it. The military is the male equivalent of fuck it, I'll be a stripper.
You can't be a good leader in the military without a few infractions, either through like a Article 15 NJP or something, some kind of incident out in town. You need a few of those to build leadership character, and that's what I was doing.
Absolutely, man. When I went to Captain's Mast in I think it was 2007, I went to Captain's Mast and as I was leaving after I got my punishment handed down to me, I was walking out, and my chief looked at me. He says, "Hey man, don't take it too hard. You got out of here pretty light, actually." He's like, "But hey, you got this box checked for making chief. You're on a good track, man. And this is early enough in your career to recover from it." And I was like, "All right, man, that's rad. Okay, thanks. It doesn't
I,
this thing
I
lose money and pay, but
now,
whatever."
you're still in. I've been out now for like 6 years, so I don't want to get to the point where I'm like one of those old dudes that's always like back when I was in. But I have no idea if first sergeants and chiefs and shit like that are still the same as they were then. But when I had to go to lockup, when I had to go to county, my chief put me on leave. He didn't do any Navy paperwork on me. He just did a leave chit, fucking put my home address on that shit, and was like, don't fucking tell anybody about this. I went and did, you have to do 80% of your sentence. So 30 days ended up being like 20 some days or some shit like that. And I just burned through leave on it.
Fuck yeah, man. So you pretty much got away with it, essentially.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I had to pay my court costs and my fine and do some lockup time, but like I didn't get in any Navy trouble. He's like, you know what? You didn't hurt anybody. You were just being dumb. So go do this shit and get out of it. You weren't drunk driving. So
So I've never heard the story that got you into lockup. Is that something you want to share, or is that something that maybe we should talk about offline?
no, 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 no. I don't give a shit. I always tell people I beat somebody up. No, I'm kidding. I was drag racing, and that is a punishable jail time offense, and I got caught drag racing.
In Virginia, right?
Yeah, and the reason I got caught is that I was hanging upside down from my truck in a tree because I had lost control. There's a lot that goes into it, but basically I lost control. I hit a guardrail. I flipped up over the guardrail, and I was kind of hanging on upside down in a tree.
I wish I would have known you in the military. I feel like we could have had a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I mean, like you're looking at the court costs, the tickets, the loss of the vehicle, the increased insurance. My chief was just like, "Fuck it, bro. Take some, take some leave time and go recuperate in jail."
Yeah, and I feel like if you would have been drunk, you would have just got hammered. Like they would have just fucking just destroyed your life.
Oh yeah. And like I've said it before, like man, thank God for 2 wars going on at that time, or the military probably would have gotten rid of me because I had a couple Article 15s from like when you couldn't drink, so like I was like 19 and I was getting caught drinking. Had some Article 15s from that. Like, thank God there was a war going on, and they probably would have got rid of me.
So, and you said so you were in the Navy at this time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once you have a gangbang and get child support and have shitty insurance and credit, like you join the army and you get straight laced, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't fuck this up too.
See, I've been lucky enough to where my shenanigans has never really resulted in anything outside of but see my first captain's mast it was because I beat somebody up. But it started out with us kind of like fucking around a little bit. You know, just kind of like beating our chest and like shoving, and then when I turned around and walked away from him, he had chucked his hard hat at me. It hit me in the back of the head, and I just lost my shit. But everything else that I've done, pretty much got away with. And a lot of our shenanigans were in Virginia. I wasn't stationed in Virginia. I was out there for kind of like sustainment training.
Yeah.
I was at my first battalion, and it was right during Hurricane Irene. We were doing this project. Hurricane was coming. They're like, hey, like we can't get anybody on flights out of here. Nobody's leaving. Like, so just hole up in your hotel room. We're like, all right, cool. So you get, 200 fucking CBs bored. What do we want to fucking do? We want to fucking drink. So we go to the exchange, and that we had cleared out, like my battalion alone, cleared out all of the liquor and all the beer. But we left the wine because we don't have any sophisticated people with us. And we had a hurricane party, and things, it started out pretty chill, and just a bunch of people getting drunk. Everything was cool. We were, some music and whatever. And then the wind started picking up. And all it took was one dude to think, hey, I wonder how far the wind will whip this beer bottle. And we're on the top floor of this hotel, and he like just whips this bottle up, and it goes sailing. So everybody else in my battalion was like, fuck it, I wonder how far I can get my bottle to go. And luckily there was no property damage or anything like that, but our hotel staff, they were notified that there was a problem. And we spent the next 3 days picking up glass and shit.
I started off underage in Virginia before I got old enough, but man, I loved it. Like I wouldn't trade any of those experiences for a better career or better advancement. I mean, I certainly cost myself how many thousands of dollars in child support and dropped half month's wages and reduction in ranks and shit like that. But I wouldn't trade. I had a blast. Even when I get a chance to go back now, there's like bars that I was like, man, I bet my blood is probably still in here, or my writing is still on the wall, or some shit like that. Just some legendary places that I love to go back and visit. And like I said, I mean, really nothing serious. I was gonna the military considers an alcohol incident serious, but I mean, like when you're underage, like not causing a problem, who really cares?
Yeah.
I really didn't get in trouble like for fighting until I got out of the service. I remember that's how I got married. So I was using the GI Bill, and I was going to school, and that's where I met my would-be wife. But we were just kind of hooking up at the time. I guess you could say dating or whatever, but mainly just like hanging out, hooking up, going out, things like that. So we were riding my Harley actually, and we were coming back. We were coming back from Milwaukee to Madison. For anybody that knows Wisconsin, it's like an hour. It's like an hour ride. And we decided to stop at this bar that, like, I don't know, it's kind of gone downhill, but it used to be kind of a cool, chill, like biker bar to go to and like hang out and stuff like that. But at this time, there still is, but at this time it was having like a wedding reception because there's like a hotel next door and shit like that. So it was kind of like a little bit of a fancier place, the hotel. So there's this wedding party and I don't remember exactly how it started, but I remember they did something. They're all drunk or whatnot, and I made a smart ass remark. And I mean, I probably should have just kept my nose out of it and not have been a dick, but I said something smart, and I for the life of me, I can't tell you what it was, but it pissed them off. I remember like it pissed them off, and then there was like little bits of like jaw jacking, like back and forth all night, but nothing serious, nothing serious. And then we were actually getting ready to leave, and something happened again. And you know what? I'm not trying to take the high road here. I'm pretty positive that I started it with my mouth again on the way out the door. And as I'm leaving, somebody jumps on my back. And it turns out to be a woman. Like and I'm like, get this bitch the fuck off me. And these dudes are just like, now they're irate. Like, oh, I remember what it was. The father, either the groom's father, or the bride's, I think it was the groom's father, was like yelling at his mom or something like that. Like she was like a sloppy drunk. And I made a comment about how their relationship is going to go. And this like pissed off the bridal party. And this girl jumps on my back and she's like trying to like choke me. And I'm like, get this bitch off me, which like makes the groomsmen upset. Like they got to come to her aid or some shit like that. So like we're like spilling out into the parking lot and like there's just so many people involved that like nobody's really like hitting anybody. But the call goes out and they're like, yeah, there's this biker and he's trying to start this fight or whatever. And this bar, it's by the casino in Madison, and there's only one road in, and there's only one road out. Like it's almost like a big roundabout with these different hotels, and there's a Harley dealer and a bar, and because of course there's a Harley dealer and a bar. And so you can only go one way in, one way out. And you know, looking back, like what I should have done is like just park the bike somewhere and just like there's spots where you could like pull it off and like just hit or like call somebody to come and get you. But I wasn't drunk. I was like, fuck it, we're just gonna get out of here. I didn't start this fight. I'm not worried. So we go and we're gonna exit, and there's a fucking cop right where you exit, and he pulls me over and he does like the standard field sobriety and the breathalyzer and all that. I'm not drunk, but he's still gonna take me to jail. Like I'm still getting arrested. And I'm like, what the fuck? And everybody says that I started this fight. And you know, I guess you could say my mouth sort of did, but whatever. So they're gonna take me to jail. And it turns out this cop used to be an Air Force guy. And so like I started just busting his balls a little bit. Like I don't really get into that whole rivalry thing, but if you're a cop and you're trying to be an asshole for no reason and I find out you're in the Air Force, I'm gonna make fun of you.
You should. And
so that's what I did. And like that just increased like the booking time by fucking forever. So by the time I get through processing and stuff like that, and they give me a court date and let me out, it's easily 5:30 in the morning. And I come out, and my wife, girlfriend at the time, she's asleep on a bench, like right there. Like she posted the money for me to get out, blah blah blah, all this kind of shit. She was asleep. She got us a hotel that was like across from the jail and stuff like that, so we didn't have to drive all the way home. Because at the time we lived outside of Madison, and like the way it's set up, it still take you like another 40 minutes to get home. So she did all this shit, and like we were like getting into the hotel, and I was like, fuck, now we got to get married, don't we? And that's what we did. So we looked up places that like you can go to like get married, like drive in and get married. And like obviously Vegas comes up, but from anybody that owns a fucking map, it's like a 2-day drive to Vegas. So we're like, well, that's not gonna work. There's a place here called the Wisconsin Dells where you can do it, but we're like, that's not original. And I think this was like July. And we're like, oh shit. In a few weeks, you can go to Sturgis and fucking get married right there. I was like, well, I've never been to Sturgis. Let's go check it out. So we went to Sturgis and we got married.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think we were together, like hooking up for like 3 months, got in the fight, a few weeks passed by, boom, we're married. We're like, fuck it. She said, like, if it doesn't work out, who gives a shit? We'll just get divorced.
She is fucking awesome.
I remember we married. I wish she was here to tell you this. We got married, and the lady, she runs like a sunglasses hut, and next to it, for anybody that's been to Sturgis, next to this sunglasses hut by the Indian dealer, is a wedding chapel, and she like runs both of them. And she was high, like I don't know if she was on shrooms or LSD or what, but she's like stroking my wife's face. She's like touching me, like talking about our auras. She's got like this lap dog, and she's like, "Do you want to pet my dog?" And I'm like, "No, I want you to sign this paperwork, give me my 25% off at the Sunglasses Hut, and let's fucking go."
That's fucking amazing. So, fucking Andar, man. I cannot wait till you come back down to Jacksonville, man.
Hey, you guys just opened the beaches up, didn't you?
We did. I'm not going. I'm not getting the Rona. I'm happy. You know, it fucking sucks. And I think that's really why we have a bunch of listeners now, is because they've got nothing else to do. So they're like, fuck it, I'll listen to these assholes talk.
I would love to go to the beach, but I don't want to, like, when it's the only thing that people can do, like everything else is still closed. Like, that's the reason I don't want to go, is I don't want to hang out with half of you people, let alone be crowded at a beach with them.
Exactly, man. I mean, I'm not really a big beach dude anyway. Like, I grew up in San Diego, so I spent most of my weekends either going to the beach with my friends, or once I had a license, like, I didn't give a fuck if anybody else wanted to go. Like, I was going to go surf and get high, so I just went and did it. But it, pretty much like my entire adult life, it's just been kind of fucking meh. Like, my kids don't like the beach, my wife don't like the beach, so we just don't go.
Isn't your wife from San Diego too?
Yeah. Well, she was born in LA, and then she moved to San Diego when she was like 5, and then we met when we were, I don't know, I was in high school. I remember that.
So she's from LA?
Yeah, she was born in LA. She lived there until she was like 5, and then her family moved to San Diego. We moved to the same town, or lived in the same town.
Did she appreciate our Tupac song last time?
She fucking died. So when, like, right around that time, right, because there was something going on. Oh, we just got a fucking a new TV and shit for the bedroom, and she was like rearranging the bedroom, so I couldn't fucking record in there. So I was recording in the garage, and it was raining. So she came out while we were recording at like 30 seconds before you started playing that song, and she had to like go back inside to fucking start laughing. Because she knows all the shit that's going on. She understands all the little fucking, all the inside shit. And
hey, you know what? I will say, out of the 9, 8, how many ever writers that chose to come and put content on Four for the Road, everybody but me has pretty much taken the high road, and I applaud them for that. I don't feel like I've gone too much in the weeds or in the ditch, but or in the gutter, but everybody else has done tremendous on the high road. I've seen some veiled jabs at us that just kind of pissed me off and made it harder for me to take the high road. So I wanted to jab back. Whether I'm right or wrong in that, I don't fucking know. But everybody else, good job for taking the high road on that. Good for them.
yeah, I mean, and there's been some less veiled stuff, but you know, that's been put out. It's, you know, shots at us and stuff like that. And it's just kind of like, all right, man. Like, I mean, people are gonna do what they're gonna do, man. You know, like, I don't give a fuck. We're just, I mean, realistically,
right.
What's up?
You're 100% right. And, you know, like I've said before, and other people have pointed out, at the end of the day, it's fucking social media. Who cares? But at the same time, if I was gonna try and rebuttal that, it's like, it is social media, but you know, the bike community is not that big. And if you have a platform like any social media platform that talks about motorcycles, and especially clubs, and tries to do it respectfully and do it right and stuff like that, when somebody, you know, throws shots at you, like, you know, that can, your reputation, especially for people like us that get out and travel state, you know, we ride state to state, we interact with different clubs, to have your reputation questioned, it's not, to me, that's not just social media bullshit. It is and it isn't. Like, you still want your reputation to be as solid as you've tried to build it without some fucking anybody, any entity trying to say, oh no, this person is this or that.
I 100% agree with you, man. And you know, it's I forgot who said it, man, but we're like, oh, you know who said it? It was Booze Fatter Sherlock. He said we're like whitelist celebrities. I personally don't feel that way. I feel like I'm just a dude that's got a job that rides motorcycles and was given an opportunity to write on that platform to spread knowledge about a community that I fell in love with. You know, like I don't, you know, and I know the guys that write for the road, and I know that they feel the same way. They're not some celebrity; they're just some dude, you know, that just happens to have this opportunity. And,
yeah, I mean, you know, I think people know us and would have a beer with us because we're good dudes. But, you know, I'm never going to sell these guys that listen to our shit or read our shit a t-shirt to make it my sole business. If I promote a t-shirt company, if I promote a parts company, if somebody decided to put a dildo on my forehead and slap it on a t-shirt and I posted about it, that'd be because I enjoy that shit. It's funny. I like supporting small businesses and brands. Like, it's not to make a business I'm not making business decisions. I'm not trying to start a t-shirt company or anything like that. Like, you know, I'm not trying to gain profit from writing about
it's definitely
motorcycle
all
club
for
history.
the love of the game. You know, it's
Yeah.
all for the love of this community. And I had an opportunity when I went up to Virginia to go visit some of my wife's side of the family. Um, Drifter and I found out that we were only going to be about 20 minutes apart. So I dropped my family off. You know, like we left Jacksonville at like 4 in the morning, got up to Virginia, dropped my family off, kind of said what's up to grandma, got back in the car, and then I hauled ass over to Drifter's house. And you know, he gave me a bike to ride. Said, "Hey, come on, like we're gonna go have a beer with my brother." I was like, "All right, sweet." So we go down to this fucking bar after this awesome ride, and then like 4 or 5 fucking booze fighters showed up. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And like I kind of shut down because it was just like it was this real small bar, and there was a ton of people in there. And like my anxiety just went through the fucking roof for some reason. I have no idea why. But this guy walked up. He's like, "Hey, man, so like, how do you know Drifter?" I was like, "Oh, well, we write together on Sucker Free is how we met." And dude's like, "Oh, shit. Oh, okay, cool. Fucking put your wallet away. You're not paying for shit anymore." You know, they hooked me up with a bunch of fucking support gear, which I do love and appreciate. Like, I got, you know, a couple of their stickers on my fridge, and, you know, I got their coins displayed with the rest of my military shit. And, I mean, I'm wearing, well, this isn't one of the shirts that they gave me, but this is Booze Fighter shirt that the Chapter 48 guys gifted to me. It's just fucking rad that we do have that reputation, but at the same time, it's like they're going to see our reaction to what's going on and what other people are doing. Like the guy that you used to write with, the guy that we all used to write with. You know, like they're going to see that and be like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know, but I completely agree with you that it's fucking irritating that we're just trying to do this for the community. It's not because, you know, like we're getting paid or, you know, because like you said, like I'll never sell you a t-shirt. And if I do, it's going to cover the cost of the t-shirt if we ever get there. But I am making Vote for Tragic's beard shirts eventually. That's going to happen because I think that's hilarious. But yeah, man, it's just fucking irritating that we got a righteous group of dudes and we got another group of guys just trying to fucking tarnish their reputations because they're upset about personal opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you have a group of people in doing anything, you have a group of people that work with you or help you or whatever, and everybody but basically like you and maybe like one or two other people leave, like maybe the problem's not them, maybe it's you. I don't know. But that's just my thought. If everybody else is jumping ship, maybe I'm the issue. I don't know. But yeah, no, I don't think that, you know, being here is it's just a platform to do something I love. I like to write. I can't build you a chopper. I can't stretch a bagger. I can't paint for shit. I can't paint by numbers. Like, I can't, I can't punch out your engine and all of a sudden we're pushing, 140 horse to the wheel. Like, there's just certain things that I'm good at and I can fucking research history and appreciate it. And this is a platform that I get to do it from. I think anybody that listens to our shit or follows it on social media could do the exact same thing. Like if you love to build bikes, I'd love to show off your bikes. If you love to paint, let's show off your fucking paintings. We like Dennis, we show off his fucking t-shirts. There's tattoo guys that will showcase and stuff like that. Like it's all to me, everything just revolves back to the love and the art. Everything is art. And I saw on another site, they said, well, how can you talk about it if you haven't lived it or something like that? And I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to live the 1940s?
Yeah.
How there's certain things. Yes, absolutely. Like, there was other people that we wrote with at the other site that I felt like weren't an authority because they hadn't lived shit. You hadn't lived nothing. On the outside looking in, and you're trying to tell other people how to be 1%ers or this and that. I'm like, you never were. How are you going to talk about it? But there's certain things that you have to experience. You have to experience, prospecting or probating. You have to experience riding across country. You have to talk about it. You have to, see a clubhouse or know how to properly pull up to a clubhouse, or you have to experience, seeing somebody not, remove their gloves or take off their glasses when shaking hands to be able to speak on it. Like, but there's certain things like the history of it. You can't go back and relive it. You can just try to respectfully preserve it.
Yeah, and I love watching those comments too on specifically yours because you will engage them, and I love how you write. And just for the guys at home, Andar will write a piece, he'll read it over, and then ask himself, okay, how can somebody either try to disprove this, attack the article, attack my intentions? He tries to bulletproof it so that way everybody understands where he's coming from and the message that he's trying to deliver through that. And it's fucking hilarious when he writes a bulletproof fucking write-up. You'll have guys come on there, well, were you there? Did they tell you that? And that's the funny thing is, like, I've heard the conversations that this man has, and I know he's talked to a bunch of legendary motherfuckers. They probably did tell him that.
But I think too, like if you want to take that, or if somebody want to take the argument of you need to live this stuff, and if you're in the club scene, then you should be proactive in learning from your graybeards, learning from the guys that have been around the club or the club scene, even if they're retired or they've walked away or whatever, and passing that on to your younger members. I think sometimes we forget that duty when we pay more attention to who we're fighting, or who's a rival, or what party we're going to, or making sure that we've got enough money for the clubhouse and, chasing rent and things like that. These are all important. I'm just saying equally as important is making sure that if you want these stories preserved and passed down, make sure that you're doing your part to do that. Don't leave it up to somebody like just me to have to go through old magazine articles or find old interviews or talk to older members to be able to preserve that shit. Do it yourself too. Some things absolutely can be shared, and some things are more private for the club. But if I'm a member of your club, I want to learn that shit. If I'm a new guy coming in, you preserve that and teach it to me so that I can pass it on to the next generation. Because eventually we're going to get to the point where the 2020s are going to be the 1940s, and nobody's going to really care about who was fighting who or who didn't get along with who. We're going to, like, all the stories are just going to be like, man, what a cool time, or what a cool story. So, I mean, it's shit to think about.
And I think the booze fighters, I don't know the situation behind it, but when Bill Hayes wrote around all these different booze fighters to get the origin stories of them and then the booze fighters and, like what was going on here and this and that, a lot of clubs don't have that. A lot of clubs don't have those people that are interested in their backstory enough to go do what Bill Hayes did with his book, The Original Wild Ones.
Yeah. And
And
it's not something that you have to, get a publisher for. It's not something you have to make money out of, and that's not a dig at them or him for making money. Absolutely, if you can be successful at something, go out and be successful. But it doesn't have to be to that level to preserve this. Some simple, what is appropriate and what isn't to write down or to preserve or to take pictures of, and to keep that in some kind of archived way is more than awesome.
dude, photo albums are still like they should still be a thing. Like, and my case in point here is I. A lot of people say, "Oh man, I wish I still had that picture on my phone, but I accidentally deleted it, or I got a new phone and it didn't transfer over." I was trying to write an article a while ago about like kind of what inspired me to get into the motorcycle scene and stuff like that, and we talked about it on an earlier show, and it was my dad, dragging my dumb ass around the country strapped to the side of his 97 Super Glide in a sidecar. And I wanted to share some photos of that, but obviously I didn't fucking have any.
Yeah.
But I hit my dad up. I was like, yo, Dad, like, can you shoot me some pictures from some of the trips? And he says, yeah. And when you walk into my dad's house on the right side of the little foyer there, little entryway, there's an old, like, stand-up mirror that has, like, a little bookshelf in it that, like, my super-duper great-grandma had back when the world was still in black and white. Drifter could tell us all about that. But at the bottom of that, you'll see, I think there's 6 different photo albums, like the little ones. And 4 of those are trips with me when I was between like 8 and 14 years old. And my dad, flipped through some of those photos and he took pictures of them. And unfortunately, they came out kind of shitty that I couldn't use them because our phones aren't compatible that way, sending pictures to like from Android to iOS and all that. But he still has those. Like that's my point. Is like he still has these pictures from when I was like 8, 9 years old that he could still look back and, one day, unfortunately, when my dad passes, I'll get those books and I'll be able to share those with my kids. But our clubs aren't doing that. Clubs today are not, they're putting everything on Facebook. And if it's on Facebook, that's just where it's going to stay. They're not taking actual photos where you have to go to a fucking CVS and have the photos developed and put in a frame. We're not doing our part as the young bucks to preserve that history, and that's what I think is going to kill a lot of clubs.
And hopefully if you are putting stuff, and again, just for the naysayers or the trolls, like everything that we say has to do with appropriate pictures that are okay for publication, like or for other people to see. That's what we're talking about. If your club has pictures of you bumping rails off a stripper's ass and you want to keep that behind the bar to show only your most beloved brothers, do that too. I don't care. That's not my business. But I'm saying, like, for preserving the culture and the history and the heritage, we are not fucking idiots. I know, everybody knows what is okay to preserve and what isn't. And for that, if you're taking those okay pictures and putting them on social media, that shit's cool. But think about, like, how can I back those up with technology? Am I saving them to a cloud somewhere? Am I keeping digitalized discs somewhere, something like that? Am I keeping a hard drive somewhere of this stuff? Again, we're talking about that non-incriminating stuff that is just going to be cool to look at. I mean, the incriminating stuff will be cool to look at 60 years from now too. But, I'm saying for that generation that's going to look, I mean, 100 years from now, like we're talking about events that took place in 1947. We're talking about clubs that were formed in the 1930s. We're talking about the first motorcycle clubs coming up in the 1900 in the 1900s. Like, you're talking about stuff that is, over 100 years old or 80 years old or 70, and all this stuff. Like, soon we're going to be at that level. We're going to be the shit was 100 years ago.
Yeah. And, and that's the point, is that when they're not preserving this shit, it's like you said, it's like, oh, that must have been kind of a cool time. I see a bunch of brothers riding and I see, all these West Coast panel paint jobs on all these fucking road glides, but that's it. They're not going to see like, oh, this is fucking this is six-toed Dave and eight-fingered Jimmy, and this is how they lost their shit, and this is them like 5 years after whatever fucking incident, and or oh yeah, like this dude here, doesn't he's just a member of the photo, but this is this legendary dude that's leading up bikers' rights right now,
And
like.
and every generation, every kind of change in the motorcycle scene has it. But like, to put it in perspective, like for somebody that maybe thinks that pictures aren't important or writing appropriate things down aren't important, like at some point this generation is going to have or do we do have, and you're going to see it later, is we're going to have our own Tom Fugel, we're going to have our own Dave Man, we're going to have our own Lionel Ricks, we're going to have our own Cliff Voss, we're going to have our own Danny Loynes and stuff like this. Like all these famous guys that were in the club scene and doing great things and stuff like that, or righteous bikers that your club remembers that founded it or was a great brother or whatever. Like you're gonna be that person. You're gonna be in that generation that they're talking about.
Yeah, and I think and it's kind of cool when I think about it that there's that much humility in like our generation where we're still just paying homage to Tom Fugel and Dave Mann and all that stuff. It's like, hey, like these guys are the pioneers, Wino Willie, but they're all thinking like, no, I'm not that guy. But then we got like Jace Hudson from the Fast Life Garage, who's a fucking phenomenal painter. He's a visionary. He rides his shit, but he's just like, nah, man, I paint. I ride my bike. That's what I do. But it's like, nah,
Yeah,
bro, like you're fucking like top tier fucking painter. Like you're amazing at what you do. And he's just like, nah, I'm all right. I paint.
yeah, and I think in anything you're gonna see that. We're gonna see guys that are building bikes, guys that were building engines and cars, and guys that were making parts, or guys that were in clubs. Like, you're gonna be that next, like, oh man, our forefathers were so fucking cool because so and so was in this club back in the day, and this is what they fought for bikers' rights. So now I can do this, or now it's illegal for a cop to do that, or that we have no more asset forfeiture because these guys were part of getting this legislation passed, or man, he built this awesome road glider, this chopper or Dyna or whatever. Like that'll be us someday. So it's cool shit to like think about, and like how can you preserve it and pass it down, whether that's in your own club, whether that's for mass consumption, shit like that.
And I think we should definitely, like when it comes to stuff like that, I think we should definitely be more active in keeping track of this stuff, especially on social media. And what I mean by that is, I don't think that there is a club out there that doesn't have some sort of artist, whether it's with writing, painting, drawing, whatever.
I mean,
But when
building
you
bikes
put,
is an art. Working on engines is art. Like every club to me is full of artists. Like if you don't think so, like you're wrong. Like whether you write, whether you're passionate about where you're riding to and taking back roads, whether you can fucking pound out, you can build engines for days, and you can paint or whatever. You can do body, you can do all this great sculpting with different pieces of the bike, or you can weld like a motherfucker. Like that's art. That is fucking art.
it is, and I think that'll help a lot when we go out and we document this stuff, right? Where people are building these rad fucking choppers, or just taking a brand new bike and just making it into something that nobody else has seen, that it's just theirs, right? Like that's like how we could look at a photo and be like, oh, that's Dave Mann's painting, or oh, that's definitely Tom Fugel build, or that's Indian Larry. When we document that, we show the world like, hey, like we're not all fucking scumbag fucking dudes that you fucking think we are. Like this is just a life that we like to live. Like, no, we don't have these huge houses, and we don't have we don't have 8 different Bentleys parked in the driveway because I dumped $40,000 into this fucking $2,000 motorcycle. But this is my art, this is my passion, and a lot of people, I think, don't look at the art and the passion and the heart that goes into our bikes when we're building them. They just see another fucking scumbag biker.
And I think, if you can get to doing something in the motorcycle world, if you can build bikes, produce parts, sell T-shirts, whatever, that gets you a house with 6 Bentleys, and do it, and somebody calls you a sellout, like, they're just jealous. To me, like, if there's a perfectly fine and righteous way for you to make money, do it. The only time you are a sellout or a disgrace to the community is when you don't stand behind your word, your product, or you're not a good brother to somebody. Other than that, if you're the best brother in the world, I can count on you. You've never lied to me, and you find a way to make a couple $1,000,000. Do it. Fucking do it.
Absolutely. I think the big problem with today's ego is that people want to see you do good, but they don't want to see you do better than them. Right? Like I've got a homie of mine who we have similar upbringings, right? We both kind of grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and shit like that, but this motherfucker is a mortgage broker right now. He's 3 years younger than I am, clearing like almost $300,000 a year. And I'm happy as fuck for him. But like nobody wants to see anybody do better than them. They always got to be on the top, but it's just like, man, like we're all in the struggle together. So
Yeah,
why not fucking be happy and do what you want to do,
I think in the club world, we do a great job of like what's half of what's in my pocket is yours type stuff. But again, like we are quick to eat our own. If if we feel that you are breaking some sort of, code or righteousness or things like that. And absolutely, like we should have those high standards, but make sure that they're not hypocritical standards, that you're not just shaming somebody or eating our own for success. Make sure that when somebody is cast out, ostracized, called to sell out, whatever, make sure that it's the same thing. Like if you're putting somebody out of your club, like make sure that these reasons are absolutely stone. They're legitimate, that they're backstopped, they're researched, they're known, everybody knows about it. Like don't just be mad at somebody because they want to leave your club, or don't just be mad at somebody because they found a way to make money and you haven't hit on a great idea yet.
Yeah, that's we got to support our own, man. And it goes across patches, it goes across club lines, it goes against all that, like when you support stuff like Rusty Butcher, you support stuff like Murder Town and the Fast Life Garage, whether it's just his podcast or whether you're contributing to his shop, like you're supporting the community. And we should be happy with those guys, because I don't know of one legitimate biker that was born with a silver spoon in their mouth and just fucking forgot about everywhere where they came from. Like I know I've been fucking beating up the booze fighters here, but Robert Patrick's another one.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Bring back the dead horse. But Robert Patrick's another one with Booze Fighters Chapter 101. He's super successful. And I don't know one fucking booze fighter, and I feel like I know a decent amount. I don't know one fucking booze fighter that has anything bad to say about him, or that when they go over to his house or whether he's riding with them, it's always a good story. It's always like, oh yeah, my brother Ripper. It's never like, oh, this fucking guy, right? Like he fucking thinks he's all fucking better. It's not like that, they're happy to see their brother succeed. They're happy to see their brother enjoy a good life, and that's all it should be about, man. But we have too many people that, somebody gets some change in their pocket, prime examples. I got a former brother of mine. I say former brother. I'm just not in the club anymore. I got nothing against him. He wasn't doing so well, and some things happened in his life where he got lined up with this one specific job. He worked his way up. Motherfucker just bought a brand new house. He bought a brand new truck, and he bought his girlfriend a brand new car. And then he waited a couple months, and then he bought a brand new bike. And I'm happy for him. Like we get so caught up in the oh, that mother, everybody's so worried about what everybody else has on their plate, and they're not focused about what they got on theirs. And we got to get away from that.
Is that all you got for us today, or you have more Booze Fighter stuff?
This motherfucker. Oh, what else you got, man? Just sitting here drinking in my garage.
for not having a good lead idea. We did all right. So now you can either post this week. You can hang on to it for a rainy day. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Well, I figured. I mean, I'm the tech guy anyway.
I mean, that's really more of like an honorary title because all you do is like copy and paste.
Well, I mean, I don't see you motherfuckers doing it. Drifter can't even operate his fucking phone.
He's lying to us. He does that intentionally.
I think so. I think dude, you can't be a dummy and be Swick. That's for sure.
Maybe he just swims really well. I don't know.
Maybe he was the motor in the boat. Maybe he just pushed the boat downriver while
He's a
everybody
motorboat and son of a bitch. All right.
else.
All right. Well, either this will air, or we'll have some stuff on POs with Tragic, or we'll have some other nonsense. Who the fuck knows? But sign us out.
I mean, this is definitely gonna go up whenever the fuck it goes up. That's for sure. But well, thanks for listening to me and Andar rant for no fucking reason, just because coronavirus. I have the Yingling virus right now. It's good shit. But anyways, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram. The more we get, I think the more embarrassing shit we're going to get on Dave. So please do that because we got to keep the show interesting somehow. And we know that you guys really only listen to us for Drifter stories from back in the 1800s and Tragic stories because he's a 1%er. So we'll figure it out. We appreciate it. Don't forget, again, follow us on all our social medias. We appreciate you guys' support. It really does mean a lot to us, man. It really does. And, yeah, this will go up when it goes up. I don't know what the last episode is, and I don't know what the next one's going to be. Y'all have a great one.